Hi guys, let's start a new series Power BI DAX thing. This is a data analysis expression. So if you are using the sum inside of the calculation column, this video will take save a lots of Power BI model time. In this few minutes, you will finally understand lots of topic like about the DAX, how they are calculated column, measures, different between the AM code and the DAX code, and calculated column, example of the calculated column, and DAX measures. So stay tuned. Let's start from the DAX. Try to understand it. What is it? So DAX is the full form is, as we are aware, data analysis expressions. So it is the powerful formula and the query language in the Power BI, and to perform advanced data analysis and the calculation on the data models. So that is the definition of the DAX. Let's try to understand more deeply about it. So data analysis expression commonly uses a DAX as a short form. So in this is actually the formula language that drives Power BI front end with the DAX. You can go behind the capabilities of traditional spreadsheet formulas with powerful and flexible functions built especially to the work with the relational data model, and calculated column for filtering and measuring to enhance data model. So there is a two-way to DAX. One is calculated column, one is measure. So calculated column is looks like this, measure is there's a formula base, it is a formula looks like this. Let's try to understand more deeply. First, let's try to understand what is AM code, what is DAX. So AM and DAX are the two different functions language used in within the Power BI desktop. So AM is used to the Power Query Editor and designed especially for the extracting, transformation, and load, basically ETL parts. And DAX is used for the front end and design especially for the analyze relational data model. So how they looks like, M code is looks like this. So this one, this is the code of the M language, and the DAX, and in the hand that this is the DAX code. So there is the M code and DAX code. Let's try to understand more deeper in the calculated column. So calculated column allows you to add and formula based column to the table in the model. Actually, the calculated columns after the entire table and the columns, actually, there is no any A1 styling difference. And calculated column generate value for each row within which are visible within the table in the row view. Calculated column understand raw context. They are great for the defining properties based on the information in each row, but generally use unless the aggregation like sum, count, average, extra. So this is important. And thumbnail. Use the calculated column to stamp statics fixed value to each row in the table, or go to the upstream and use for the query editor. But make sure do not use the calculated column for the aggregation. That is what measure for. I'll explain the measure after it. Let's take the one example of the calculated column. Before starting, I'll give the one pro tips. Pro tip is calculated columns are typically used for filtering and grouping data rather than creating aggregation number of the value. Right? So let's take example of the calculated column. So this is the example of the calculated column. Okay. So in the measure, why we take the measure? Why should we take the calculated column? Let's take example in this. In this example, in the front, I have given two examples. One example in which we added the calculated column named the parents, which equal to years if the total children is greater than 0 and no otherwise. So we'll require one by one row and calculate every row here in the every cell. So since calculate column understand the row context, a new value is calculated in each row basis on the value in the total children's column, right? So in the used value for the calculate column is created a new row property that we can use to filter it, segment and relate it to the data within the model. Let's take another example. Why measure is required? Why calculated we not? If you're using the calculated column in this, what is happening? Let's take the example. So example is here. If we are using the aggregation function sum to the calculated for the new column named total summary. Since this is the aggregation function, the same grant value is written in every row of the table. So this is value used for the calculations. These value are typically stemmed up into the table, can't be filter slice. So in that case we should use the measure. In that case we should use the calculated column. So these are the example. Let's try to understand more about the measures. So this is the DAX measure. DAX measure is the formula used to generate a row new calculated value. Like a calculated column, measure reference entire table to calculate and make another column. So unlike calculated column, measures are visible within the tables. They are only to seams within a visualizations like a chart or matrix, right? Again, measure will evaluate basis a filter context, which is means to their recalculate within a fields or filter around them change. Important thing. So as rule of the thumbs, use measure when your single row can't give up a answer or when you need to aggregate value across multiple row in the table. On other hand, do not use the calculated column for the aggregation. This is what the measure for, as I discussed earlier. So again, one pro tips. Pro tip is use measure to calculate number, calculated value that you can analyze in the value fields of the report visual. So these are the topics which I covered. Let's open the Power BI and do that practically. So based on the total children, we'll create a one column, right? So let's open it and make another column. So how will we add a column? You need to go there in the reports in the Power BI and table tools. In the table tools, there is a new table. Sorry, new column. We require the column here. Click here in the column, open it. There's a column. Rename it. The column is like take any name. What name should we take? That is a parent. Is equal to is there. Go there and if. When you write a if, write a tab, automatically open the formula. What formula we will need to write? Like logical test, the return true, and the false if it is. So what is the logical test? Logical test is the total children. Where is total children located? It is in the customer table. So first you need to write the what is a table name. CU, when you type CU, all C customer lookup table will appear in all the header or the fields appear in front of you. Let's search it from the drop down, the name of total children. When you go down, you will get a name, total children. When you get a name, uh, press the tab. When you press the tab, this will open like this, and put your condition. Condition what is greater than 0. That first logic is completed. If logical is completed, then put the yes. Why? I need this text would always come in the inverted commas. Double quote. Yes, then comma, and again double quote with the no. And all logics are completed. Then we need to close this with this pattern and just hit the enter. When you hit the enter, new column will create it in the end like this. And this is the yes or no. Where is yes? Okay, just 1 minute. This one filter might be. Where is children? Children. Why do all yes? Because filter is here. If I select all, they will give yes and no result. This one. No and yes. No is for the 0, yes is if more 1, 2, 3, 4, any value is there, right? So that is the one thing. Let's calculate it. The aggregate function is how it's look like. Again, go to the new column. If you click the new column, one new column will be created, and you need to write a formula there. So formula is total quantity. What is total quantity is equal to, put the aggregation like we are doing sum here. Sum, if you click the sum, this will only the sum functions will come here. Put the this thing, and again you will have to give the where you need to sum means the order quantity. It is available in the sales data. So how can we calculate it? Put the sales, all sales data column would be there. So search the column order quantity from here. From the drop down, there is a order quantity. In the order quantity, hit the tab and close the bracket and then hit enter. When you click here, all value come as we discussed in our theoretical way. So if we need such calculation, we should go for the measure. If we need such calculation, we should go for the calculated column. So these are the difference between the calculated column, M code, and uh, this DAX, and the little bit more about the DAX. So stay tuned. We'll continue more topic in this and go it for the much deeper about the DAX thing. So stay tuned. See you in the next video.